You're about to enjoy a Cloudcast original. Local stories, local storytellers, local brands.
Have you ever felt that you as a woman may not appear to measure up when you see incredible women in strong roles? You may be surprised when hearing from women in these positions and how we all share many of the same challenges. Thank you for joining us for the STE.E.O. Leading In podcast with Rebecca Jones as we share the journeys of women.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Jones, your host of STE.E.O. Lead In. We are on an exploration together to discover more about the personal journeys of incredible women in both career and life. We all have paths to share that sometimes take incredible turns, deep resilience, and courage to navigate. My hopes are that the challenges shared here encourage women to take leaps of faith and growth when a journey feels too difficult or unachievable. There is great strength deep within each one of us. These stories are meant to share the ways strong women have taken their dreams to strive and thrive to new heights, despite their sometimes rocky paths, and found a way to lead in. Today we are here with Perla Myers, the Executive Director of the USD Jacobs Institute for Innovation and Education. How are you today, Perla?
I am doing great. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Well, I am so excited to hear all about you and all the ways that you are helping educate our youth. And so I'd like to just start out maybe if you could just share maybe a short story about your childhood as Perla, the little girl, maybe not even the little girl, it could be a teenager, but something that maybe our listeners have not ever known about you.
Well, I guess when I was a little girl, I loved painting and exploring things and creating. And I loved, one of the things I really loved was talking to my grandmother. So I would wait until everybody was asleep in my household. And when she was visiting, I would sneak down to where she was staying, and I would spend hours and hours and hours talking with her.
Well, that's how you actually learn things about the past, I think, that help us in the future, right?
Yes, absolutely. I learned so much from my grandmother.
I love that. And where did you grow up, Perla?
I grew up in Mexico City, and I would spend all my summers and every vacation at my grandparents in Comalcalco, Tabasco, a tiny little town in Mexico also.
I love that. So what is one word that you think about yourself that describes you the best?
Oh, that's an interesting one. That's good. I need to think about that. I would say willing. I'm willing to try. Collaborative. I love collaborating with my colleagues. I think one of my very favorite things is working with all the amazing people who are around me and learning and working with each other, playing with each other to create.
Well, you know, Perla, nobody can do anything by themselves. And I think that's one thing that our listeners really need to understand. When they feel the weight of things around them and how am I going to move forward because I can't do it all myself. The truth is you can't do it all yourself. And
that is absolutely.
I think there's a lot of wisdom in that for sure. So how long have you been at USD, and how, if this is not your first career, how long have you been, in the educational space? What did you do before that?
I've been at USD for 23 and a half years. And before that, I also taught. And so after I graduated from the University of California, San Diego, I started doing teaching things. And actually the way I learned my own mathematics and the way I learned my own subjects was tutoring and teaching my friends what I knew. And actually I figured it out then. I maybe didn't even know it myself. So I've been teaching for a long while.
Well, I think that there are a lot of people that need help with math. Many of us dread it. I actually do a lot of public speaking. People dread that as well. But, when you see kids that are doing math and they're doing it in a very different way than we did as kids. I look at them and think, I don't even know how to do that kind of math. It's very different. So, what are your thoughts about the change, I think, in math?
I think there are some very exciting possibilities with the way we are changing our approach to mathematics. I think the way many of us were taught when we were kids, we were taught that mathematics was maybe a set of isolated rules and regulations that we had to follow and memorize. And really, mathematics is a beautiful, beautiful subject. It's got depth and connections between ideas that may seem completely unrelated to each other. And so giving kids the opportunity to engage in mathematics in a way where they can see the meaning and the relevance and feel like they can do it, feel like I can be a slow person in mathematics and I'm still a mathematician. I can be really thoughtful and spend the time to understand it and not memorize something really quickly. And especially those people might even be better at mathematics than those of us who maybe memorize faster, but may not understand it so well. So I think the opportunity to play and engage and understand deeply is what we need to, I think, create equity and access to mathematics. I think we should have joy. I think that one of my goals in life is to have people hear the word mathematics and smile. Right now, as you said, a lot of people hear the word mathematics and get a little pain in their stomach. And it should absolutely not be that way with an absolutely beautiful subject.
Well, then the truth is there's a lot of angst, but you can't get through life without knowing some math for sure. I mean, you just literally would not be able to function. I mean, even if you're just, for instance, following a recipe or figuring out if a piece of furniture is going to fit in a certain space. I mean, there are a lot of things that daily we all have to use some bit of math. So if you don't know it and you're scared of it, you could actually make some big mistakes.
That is absolutely true. One thing I have found is that a lot of us are doing those things anyway. Like many of us are figuring out how to adjust the sofa, and many of us are figuring out how to have the recipe and double it and do those things. And many of us are actually doing the mathematical thinking, but we think we are not mathematicians. Many people think I'm not good at it, but they are in fact doing mathematical activities every second of their life. So I feel like if we don't create that fear, and if people embrace it, then they would be more willing to think about it in a way that even enhances the activities they're already doing.
I love it. So why don't you help me understand as far as what success means to you and how that looks? I would imagine it would have something to do with your students and how well they're doing. But why don't you share with us a little bit about what success looks like and then also failure too?
I think success, especially when engaging with other people, is getting to the point where if I knew more to begin with than they did, that they know more than me and are teaching me things, because everyone has something to teach. And so I think success is getting to the point where we're collaborating, and so that's how I feel about teaching, getting them to see aha moments, getting them to realize how wonderful they are at and capable. How does failure look? I think failure is absolutely part of the process. And I think we see failure as a terrible thing, but in fact, we fail many, many more times than we actually succeed. We have, like when I submit grants, many times I will submit 3, 4, 5, something number of grants before I get one funded. When I'm trying to solve a problem, I try 20 to 30, 50, 100 different wrong paths before I get something that gives me what I feel is success. But in the meantime, because I failed in so many different ways, I actually opened myself up to new ideas and new thoughts that I would have never noticed had I not failed. So I think failure is a wonderful thing, and I think we should consider how to make it clear that it is a valuable part of the process to kids. I think we all fear it, and we all do. I fear it, right, too. But just giving ourselves that opportunity to engage in a way that we can fail and keep getting better. I guess we try not to make the same mistakes more than one. Try to make a different one the next time.
Well, and you brought up a really good point, too. The whole failure thing, it is a valuable thing, and it helps us grow. But I would have to say there is a very different perception of what failure is today than it used to be, because I can tell you as a kid, I failed all the time. And my parents were like, whatever, just keep moving forward. But now there is so much pressure from parents to maybe even have their kids not fail, getting a participation, banner for everything that you do. But the truth is, people do win and people do lose at certain things. There's always going to be someone that is more everything. And I say this to people all the time. There's always going to be someone that's more beautiful, smarter, more intelligent, more this, more that than every single one of us in the room as women. And we need to encourage those women that are what we perceive as better, because we don't even know a fraction of what their story is. And they may have, things happening there in their life where they need us to encourage them and help them become the best version of themselves. So what do you think about that whole, I'm going to say it out loud, the helicopter syndrome, the helicopter parent where, they don't want their kids to fail because they're never, ever going to be able to be very successful if they don't have those failures?
I think this is it. It's hard. And I think we are experiencing when the kids finally get that opportunity to be on their own, it sets them up for a situation where, first of all, failure is they dread it in such a way that maybe it makes them too scared to even try. So I as a parent, it is very tempting to be a helicopter parent and try to save your kid from every situation. But I think we learned with our kids that we needed to let them fail. And yeah, so it's important to give them that opportunity early on and to let them know that it is okay. I think it is okay to fail. Of course, you don't end at the failure. You keep trying and continuing to try new strategies and pursue other ways. But I think, I guess if I were to be a parent, right, like a new parent right now, my kids are grown at this point, and I still get to enjoy them. If I think I would make sure that I let them fail in earlier and earlier, I think.
Well, of course, because when they're smaller, when they're younger, their failures are so much they're not entirely life-changing always. Sometimes it's so much easier to have those small failures because when they get older and they've never failed, they're going to be big ones, big failures, and, things that could truly affect their entire life. So I totally agree with that. So I have a question, talking, kind of switching gears about kids and work and all of that. balancing, even your personal life, you're, taking that time for yourself. It's tough. And I think as, work is more demanding nowadays, especially during the pandemic, some people were like, oh yeah, during the pandemic, it was so much easier because I got to spend time at home. Well, I think people like you probably were trying to figure out, okay, now how are we going to switch all of the academic part to an online platform? And that's not easy because not everyone learns that way. A lot of people really need that one-on-one, face-to-face, and you can't really do that when you're on a computer. It's just not the same. So tell me about that whole balance of work and home and how that looks for you. And it's different for everyone. So let's preface it with that. It's different for everyone. There's not a wrong way or a right way, but what works for you?
Well, there's a lot to do. And so I feel like definitely finding time for self-care and for to reflect and to consider, what we're doing next is super important. I think it'll keep us doing what we love to do and what we want to accomplish for a longer time. And so I think that is really important, and that is really easy to say. So a lot easier than it is to do. So it is something I think about every day, and I make time for some self-care, and I recommend that is a priority, a huge priority. What you were saying about the pandemic, what happened, I think, during the pandemic is we figured out ways to manage the online environment in ways that maybe allowed us, for example, to be in two meetings at the same time, or to jump from one meeting to another in a very small amount of time. Some of my students said they would wake up at 8:55 or 8:57 for a 9 o'clock class. And so I'm feeling that maybe some of us got used to that ability. And now that we are back to real life, I am finding that many of the students are really over committed in a way that was not the same before the pandemic. So it's something I've been thinking about, like, how did that happen? Maybe it is because we were trying to fit in too much. So I think it's time to sort of stand back and re-examine how are we spending our time? Are we spending time to decompress, to reflect, to see what the next step is? And I feel like we need to make sure we do.
Okay, Perla, I'm sitting here thinking that I'm convicted right now because I was literally always 10 minutes early for everything prior to COVID. And now I find exactly what you're talking about. I mean, you couldn't have spoken more to me than, when you go to church and you're sitting there going, uh-oh, this is just for me. I'm feeling like that right now because I really have. I've overcommitted too. And now I'm at the point where it's been really tough for me to get back into those schedules of, having the traveling time and all of that. And it really is going to affect, I think, for generations to come, what the expectations are and all of the things that we have figured out. Guess what? You can't do all of those. You cannot do all of those things because you're going to lack. Because again, back to your point of having that decompression time, having that traveling time really is helpful, and it is healthy. It is healthy to have that time in between where you've got some space and some breathing room. Otherwise, it's just go, go, go. And it's honestly, I think it's unachievable to actually be able to be at that kind of a productivity sort of pace for long periods of time. I just don't think it's possible.
I agree.
It's unsustainable.
Yes, yeah, it's unsustainable.
Yeah. So as a female leader, have you had any issues where you felt that being a female has really been a barrier in any sort of way?
I grew up in Mexico City, right? So in Mexico City, I would say that we were a little bit less advanced in thinking of women as capable of doing everything. Yet in my own household, my parents always believed that I could do anything, right? So there were times, I would say, where I limited myself. So I would think, okay, my mom quit school when she got married. And now here I am in school. I was in graduate school when I got pregnant with my son. So my first instinct was, oh, hold on, I guess I need to quit. Like, I can't keep going and have a kid and be in school at the same time. So some of my own growing up experiences made me feel like maybe I can't do it. But then I got convinced, oh no, you need to continue. So there were times when I was the one limiting myself. But also I definitely experienced many a time when I was in a room and I would share an idea. I think this is pretty common. And then all of a sudden I would hear the idea back from somebody else. And it was usually a male voice. And all of a sudden the idea was heard in the room. So that's the kind of experience that I think many women have. I feel like a lot of the times it's me with my own feelings that make me think, hold on, should I be doing this? Or can I do this? Or am I good enough? So
you're not going to believe this, because honestly, when you started out saying what you were saying, I felt like maybe it was a cultural thing. But then as you went on, you're not going to believe this, because I don't even remember how many episodes that I have taped so far, but it's somewhere between 70 and 80. Nearly every single woman that I have spoken to, and we're talking about completely different ethnic, financial backgrounds, we all say the same thing, that we are the ones who limit ourselves. Even our undersheriff, and she just was elected as the first woman ever to be the sheriff in San Diego County. Even she said that one of the barriers is herself, that she felt that she wasn't able to do certain things. I find myself thinking the same thing also at times too. And so I think that's a really interesting thing, because that is a very common theme of women and how we look at ourselves. And I think a lot of it has to do with the barriers of what, or not even maybe just the barriers, but what society tells us that we are supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be the caregiver of our kids. And not every woman should have kids. I mean, that's the real truth. Not every person should be a parent, because if they're not really into it, you probably shouldn't do that job. So I think it's just really interesting that we all have that as a common theme, no matter what our actual, backgrounds, careers are, and all of that. So just kind of thinking about role models, people that have helped shape you into who you are. I myself have a vast array of people that have come into my life, but why don't you share with us a little about your role models?
I also have lots of people who are my role models. From my grandmother that I shared about earlier. She grew up her first couple years in Germany, in Austria. We took her. The reason I thought Germany is we took her to Germany because she wanted to go back. And to Europe. And so we took her to Germany and Austria because she had left when she was 3 years old and hadn't been back. So that was my first thought. She came from Austria when she was 3 years old. And she's somebody who was willing to do anything. So I would say to her, can you please draw me an elephant? And she would draw me an elephant. It didn't matter that, her elephant was not necessarily perfect. And to me it was, right? So she's somebody who always was willing to do things and try. And she, I would say, raised everyone around her. So she elevated everyone. My parents were always excited about education, and so they were amazing role models with respect to thinking and playing games and learning while playing. So they were amazing role models. My students are my role models. I learn from them every day so much, and my kids. So I am surrounded by role models. My colleagues are amazing. So I think I love people because there's so much we can learn from those around us, and it's great to be
Absolutely.
surrounded by amazing ones.
Absolutely. And your grandmother seems like she had no barriers because she didn't see a barrier. She would try no matter what, which I tell young people all the time. Try things that are outside of your comfort zone. Try things you never know what you're going to be passionate about. And it might be something that you have no clue. Don't do things that are obviously, physically, not safe, but, try things that are very unsafe as far as within you, whether they feel comfortable or not. So when you think about your lessons learned, what are some great examples of that you'd like to share with other women and that they could apply to their lives?
I would share that I agree with you. Learn everything there is to learn. You never know when you might find something that you're completely passionate about. And also, I feel that learning many different areas gives you lenses that allow you to view situations in a different way. So one of the things I enjoy doing is paper folding, and like some of some of the most amazing innovations in paper folding to allow for transporting telescopes and very large things to space, to creating solar panels, to building houses, all kinds of things came because somebody who knew about let's say architecture or science or engineering also knew how to paper fold, right? So if we know how to do many things, if we know about many things, if we see history in a deeper way, we are able to do all kinds of things that we wouldn't be able to do if we just specialize in one area and stay there. I would say what we chatted about before is be willing to make mistakes, challenge yourself to try things that you may not be good at. Like I love dancing. I'm not so great at it, but it doesn't matter, right? Even if I'm not great at it, it's something I enjoy. So challenge yourself, be willing to make mistakes, and those mistakes might evolve into new ideas. I would say find a community to surround yourself with where you can be your genuine self, and people who surround yourself with people who make you better, a better person, who challenge you to be a better person, people who are just make you feel comfortable being yourself.
That's such good advice. That is such good advice. A lot of people don't even, and I'm going to include myself in this too. A lot of people don't even know who they are when they're young, and sometimes it takes your whole lifetime to figure that out. I guess the trick would be to surround yourself with people that are helping you get to that point where you really say, you know what, I finally know who I am, and I'm really comfortable with who I am. And it doesn't matter if you don't like me or you like me, I'm okay with that too. And, I tell people all the time, and I bet you that you were going to agree with me on this. I tell people all the time, I'm going to be learning things until the day I die. And that's, talking to all these different people in your life, people that you come in contact with, there's always some treasure hidden within them that will help make you a better person.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you.
I love it. So I have a question for you, Perla. What's next on your journey?
Well, it's what's next is I just became the executive director of the Jacobs Institute for Innovation in Education, which is a really wonderful place to collaborate and think of ideas, innovate to create. So it's research development and professional learning, and it's all focused on creating access and educational equity, and it's so that we can engage people in innovation and have people who might otherwise not have that opportunity. So I am surrounded by collaborators, and they are all super passionate about this. And so I just started in June, so I'm trying to establish the next steps. It's very exciting. We have a few projects, and what's next is implement those projects and see what else we can do to get young people in the room and having them express those amazing ideas that they bring, and because we need them to change the world, right? So yes. And they are completely capable of doing it. So that's what's next.
I love it. Okay, well, thank you so much, Perla, for being with us today and sharing your amazing love of life. I can tell you're such a happy person and really appreciate that. And you definitely need to have fun in life and keep dancing. Who cares if anyone's watching? As long as you're happy and it will help you be more creative and help you, again, have that love of learning and figure out how you can move forward and bring other people along and help them become the best version of themselves.
Thank you very much. It was really nice talking with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now that was powerful. We hope you've been lifted and encouraged by today's inspiring voice. Always remember that life doesn't look exactly the same for each one of us. Never stop dreaming, striving, and thriving. In future episodes, we look forward to bringing you powerful stories from amazing women who learned how to lead in to challenges. Thank you for listening and being part of our community with CEO host Rebecca Jones.
You have been listening to a Cloudcast original. Local stories, local storytellers, local brands. Find more stories at cloudcast.us.